Team Twat versus... That's a good point. What's the damn name of the team? It's the Great Commonwealth Bake Off. There we go. Again, not sure on what the maps are because I couldn't find it in the draft. Oh, I'm so miffed that I can't see it. Yeah, that's Civs. No. There is some very, very unhappy cats. Some very, very unhappy cats. Okay, well, super quick glance over the civs. Aztecs, Burgundians, Celts, Bulgarians and Cumans as the leftovers. And I got civs in sort of more expected positions this time. Hindustanis, Italians, Ethiopians, Spanish, Gujaras, Mayans, Persians, Bengalis, Sicilians, Incas, Byzantines, Romans, Lithuanians, Slavs, Tatars and Burmese for the Great Commonwealth Bake Off. Team Twat have Mongols, Georgians, Armenians, Vikings, Japanese, Koreans, Magyars, Franks, Chinese, Vietnamese, Malay, Khmer, Teutons, Huns, Turks and Malians. So, you know, Team Twat with the infinitely better draft. They've managed to get the Malians in there. Hopefully they can get a win with them. Hannah, pinging messages. Just here to complain that Turs banned Teutons. Too scared of them. I would love the link. I would love the link, Hannah. You're a star. They have started game number 2. And it will be Shrubland. Shrubby land. Nice one. And let's change their names. And the Great Commonwealth Bake Off, probably spelt wrong. And you are a star for sending through the map draft. Okay, so it was Zimbabwe, and then Shrubland, Chaos Pit, Team Islands, and Compass. Groovy. No Two Rivers, Crescent, Arena, or Frontline. But we will possibly see Team Islands, which might be a nice change of pace. Anyway, into the game proper we go. Thank you very much for putting up with us. We don't know what game number 1's score is, but we will find out when I grab the Rex towards the end. I guess I could have grabbed the Rex, tried to grab the Rec and then gone from there, but I want to be able to see what you guys are. No, not you. That one. And then capture age. Thank you. Too many things. Okay, second lot of Shrubland today. We have Koreans and Vietnamese and Cumans and Bulgarians. They are spotting out civs. We got Mayan flank with Persians backing them up and Lithuanians in a pocket and some Ethiopians at the side. So super standard. But again, a second lot of seeing Koreans, which is nice. Decent archers. Trying to get some pushing in, but being a little bit of a nuisance is old bread pudding. Oh, just being an irritant, and it, just trying to make it so the push doesn't happen. As pudding actually had a Vil forward as well. Oh. It's like I can't hear anything. I can't hear the game sounds because I had my volume turned off while I was casting. We get a decent fight, and we kill the emu, the ostrich as well. Oh, so irritating. Again, not necessarily convinced it's worth it for the idle time that we've gained, but hey, it's a nuisance, and that's pudding's bread and butter. Along with the rum sauce. Boo walling up and getting those pushes in. Kind of expecting quite a lot of feudal play, actually. Probably from everybody. Though we are, I guess, walled up in a way with the amount of herdable hunt that we're pushing in. Maybe potentially going for a fasty castle Korean play. As Paradox said, that might be an option last time. Again, I'm not necessarily convinced it is the smoothest, safest thing to go for. It sucks for Happy the end. Look at the freaking Vil pathing, dudes. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You don't want to chop that tree. Like, oh god, no, that's so ick. Icksome. Feudal age landing. Boo will be pretty much walled in, pushing in the last of the two ostriches. And the first to feudal will actually be Andy. Well, no, actually it would be Nathaniel, but Andy pretty much the same. So fast feudal Cumans, not into the double TC. So actually, yeah, weird way round. Cumans, I guess, going for scouts as well. Are we going to be double scout on the one side? Cumans, I guess, could go archers. You don't necessarily want to see Bulgarians go archers, but it might be a vibe. It would be a flex. It would certainly be a flex. Not necessarily a good one. Barracks down for Hopsy is probably just going to go straight double archers. And thank you very much for the raid, Turs, and all of the people in Turs' chat who were probably already here. But it's nice to have you. And congratulations on your win. 3 lions on a Turs, as that was a bit of a monster set going all the full 5 games. Really enjoyable. Like really, really enjoyable. Yeah, I'm just here to complain that Turs ban tunes. Classic Turs behaviour. Nice little coming in. And Panda gonna nick some herdables. That's nice. Well, I mean, I've got towers. This feels weird. It's got to be a fast castle of some kind, right? Like, do we have the... Are we rocking the res for it? Not far off, but it's just like we're not on gold, so... It feels a little odd. Scouts forward for Kiwi. No, not forward. They're... well, you know, they are, but like... hanging around the front of Hopsy's base. And it is market. Can't quite afford the blacksmith as we are determinedly trying to get, stubbornly trying to get the last of the herdables in. No, the huntables in. Goat popping it open. It's clearly a tight build here. It's to get every, like it's greed. Who's ever heard of Boo being greedy before? Blacksmith is down. Close food count. Probably gonna have to sell some stone actually to get our click up, which is a little unfortunate. But we've got the res for the castle. Yeah, it's clearly a very tight build order, and I'm not necessarily convinced it's actually been pulled off particularly well. Nathaniel. Oh, let's avoid those little jumps. We'll at least clear up most of the archers coming forward from Ted as the next little wave comes forth. Again, we're not even on gold. Like, where do we throw the castle down? Do we like delete some of the walls and throw them down at the front? As we start to put some pressure, will it be defensive tower first, or what? Like, I guess we could get a defensive tower down right at the front preemptively, just in case. Castle Age on the way in. Not entirely sure what we ended up having to sell to get that. Probably some stone. Like, it's a lot of stone collected, and we can definitely wall this off. We do spot the hole because the Vil moves around to help finish the walling. And I will say, Nathaniel's, I'm not sure what the Cumans is bringing to this matchup, but Nathaniel has effectively facilitated Boo's relatively smooth uptime. It does mean that we've not 2TC'd the Cumans. It's been all in on the Scout Cavalry and Eco expansion. But I guess that's good. It's put Boo in the best position that they could possibly be in. We've got that little choke point set up for Ted. I think we're stonewalling over to the edge of the map, locking off this side quite nicely, as we are indeed putting that little bit of pressure on. Castle Age in, and where do we put that castle? Right slap bang at the front. And I guess with the TC there, we just about forced the archers away, and the scout numbers are good, so that, like, there is a timing here, fletching on the way in for Boo as well. Over on the other side, this should be a fight that goes okay for Pudding. Clears up most of the scouts, and yeah, Pudding smurfing 1180, and you know it never feels that way. 28 Vils, idle time. Obviously a little bit worse for Pudding, but a lot of that's because we were trying to be a nuisance. And Pudding is. The wall off is pretty good for both of these guys. I think the defense down to the south will be fine, but we should be starting to get the first of our war wagons out. And Market on the way down, and we should probably be clicking up as well. Wow, vibe. Now, are we looping? Oh, we're just trying to clear the last of the archers. I was about to say, are we going to loop round and help push this side? With rum sauce? Maybe. It's like, because Boo's fine. Boo's in castle, relatively unmolested. We've got war wagons out. They've got the pierce armor for days, so just the small number of war wagons can probably mostly deal with this. We don't want to get dove on by the scouts too much, but it's like, as soon as we get like 6 war wagons together, this is legitimately a fight that we win. And to the north, it's a little bit of back and forth. If only there was, I think it might be worth swinging over with Nathaniel's scout mass just to help push. I guess the aim is to hold up north and to see if we can get significant numbers, a significant bit of damage done to Ted. Castle Age on the way in for both Nathaniel, Young Panda, And Ted. Hopsy, not quite yet. Decent mass up for Hopsy. I'm taking okay fights. Like, okay fights. So it's like the micro of bread pudding is good, but the macro is not necessarily so strong. Can we do enough damage to Ted to make the Ethiopian transition rough? We've got 3 stables, 3 archery ranges prepped, and they will turn into like little shooting machines. We can hit the gold though. We can very much hit the exposed gold, forcing the Ethiopians off gold, so their archer mass won't be mega when they hit Castle Age. I mean, we've got a few. We'll be able to have like 20 crossbows up when we get there, but it's just like it's gonna be tough. We're just gonna try and pick off reinforcements, and we hit the wood line. This is so much damage over on this southern side. Up north, I mean, Pudding's kind of slapping. Like, legitimately, Pudding's kind of slapping.
Yes.
Faster Korean stone mining, so it's not so efficient. Groovy. Well, hey, I always assume that that Boo has a plan, and that it's executed to Boo's high standards. Moving out with Vils to get that second TC up, especially when they're in a position to kind of be relatively safe. When you've done this much damage to the Ethiopian player, the Castle Age player has been pretty darn well for Team Twat this time. Young Panda trying to get the dive in, waiting for second armor, but again we get forced off gold. Still have some on food, and having the crossbows be a potential threat. Do we like delete the wall and help them escape, or do we just sacrifice them in the end? I mean, crossbow coming in does mean that we probably win this fight with a little bit of micro, but it's tedious, right? It's super tedious. As again, Rum Sauce not on the way to Castle, not a million miles off. We could probably buy our way up, but again, it's a messy old eco. We've had quite a lot of idle time, but we've at least put some pressure on. Killed 6 villagers as well, which has got to be mentally pretty draining. Speaking of mentally pretty draining, having to focus down on the micro when you're being pressured left, right, and centre. Panda being in Castle means that at least we clear up all of the war wagons in our base, but it's been costly. It's been very costly, and Rumsource's micro up to the north has been good, and this has just allowed a bit of a free boom for everybody else. A little bit of raiding. Knights in on the gold of Panda as well. For just 2 knights, forcing us off gold is not ideal. Crossbows staying alive. I mean, not crossbows, archers staying alive. As the next little wave comes rolling in. As soon as young Panda pulls his knights back to play defensive, the next little wave of Koreans come rolling in. We're effectively able to just ignore the TC fire. The Pierce armor is pretty darn good on these things. 5 Pierce armor coming in. TC's only doing like, what, 2 damage per shot, and there's plenty of health. So yeah, it's a nuisance. It's an absolute nuisance. With a 3rd TC coming up, we're booming up, and it's 195 eco to 150. So a pretty big lead here, and they know it as Ted calls the GG. Wow. Pretty swift shrubland. That's definitely a game for Team Twat. Okay, love me a prepped strat. Happy the Andy really didn't need to do a mega amount that time. Speedy, great KD for Boot, but maybe a little bit of a bread pudding carry quietly, 57 to 13. So yeah, not bad, not bad. Like, to be effectively, I'm pretty sure Pudding is the lowest rated player in the tournament, and he always feels like, even though the some of the plays and some of the economy building up of Pudding, it can be pretty ass. Pudding always feels like there is some significant value given. Like it's actually pretty mad. Like how good Pudding fits into kind of how this team plays. Always something really messy. Love it, absolutely love it. So that was a Shrubland loss. So picking off a home map quite convincingly. We can mute 3 lions on a Turs, because they're not playing right now. We can tick off some civs that we know have been picked. So that's that was Ethiopians lost. That was, oh god, I've forgotten already. That's dumb of me. It was definitely definitely Koreans. That was Cuman win. I'm just gonna have 2 for Team Twat, 1 for others. Korean win, and I genuinely, I didn't even tweet. Was it Vietnamese? I can't remember. Shit. Noobcaster. I believe we're going to Chaos Pit next. Oh my god, did I just lose the maps? I didn't lose the maps. It was just on a different hotkey. Okay, so Chaos Pit next. Last of Great Commonwealth Bake Off's home maps. Does that mean that we're looking at the potential of a 3-0? Maybe. Chaos Pit. What Chaos Pit civs have we got left over here? I mean, Hindustanis have been pretty good. Having at least one of the camel civs in play could be nice. Byzantines there as well. We've seen Incas, so we've actually got Hindustanis, Incas, and Byzantines, which have had a little bit of success. And like throwing in something like Spanish, or okay, even like, I think we've actually had the Bulgarians in the last one, right? Actually, yes, it was Bulgarians. Proper little so we had 2 of the random admin picks on that with Koreans, and I can't even remember what the last one was. like genuinely, I can't even remember what the last one was. Probably Vietnamese. I'm just going to assume it was Vietnamese. Over on the other side, what we got left? Again, I don't know what they had in the first map, but there's Mongols, there's Magyars, there's Turks. Actually, Turks were pretty good. If we still got Turks, I think I'd like to see Turks again on Chaos Pit. I really liked them in the pocket. I think the scout play from them was really nice, and I like them being able to throw up castles and go for janissaries. I think they mix in to the comps quite nicely. So like Turks, Magyars, if they're still there. I mean, we've still got like Celts though, and Aztecs and Burgundians. Like we could go for another pick from down the bottom. Leave all of our open picks for our home maps as much as we want. Like Malians is also another option. Could have Franks. But, I mean, you'd be expecting some kind of camel play, I think, here. Considering Hindustanis, Persians and Gujaras. Again, I can't remember what they were played in the last one. So, like, probably at least one of these is eaten up. Was it Mayans? I vaguely remember there being an Eagle Warrior, so it was either Mayans or Incas are gone. Probably Mayans. Let's assume Mayans. It'll become nice and obvious. And we're certainly getting through this cider. Oh my word. Oh my word. What about Sicilians on Chaos Pit? Like, what about them? Like, less bonus damage, so we could join in with the scout play kind of nice. Joining in just that little bit less affected by spears. And you might just be able to go skirm, I guess, to a certain extent. Skirms get less bonus damage from the scouts in that fight in the middle. And a donjon defense. Like, I don't hate that. But they've got lots of good options for Chaos Pit. Who's going to be playing? Boo, Pudding, Ted, Hopsy, Kiwi, subbing in, Happy the Andy, Nathaniel, and Panda. And I guess they're just waiting for Panda to be ready. And off we go. Game number 3. En route. Failed to download match content. Failed to download match content. Don't give me that. Failed to download match content. I know. Not a lover of that. Have them on. I think it's just a classic case of turn Age of Empires off and on again. That's what that feels like to me. That feels like a classic Age of Empires off and on again. I don't know why. It's just sometimes you know your mods just stop. I'm not sure there's like a decent reason for it. I'm not sure what breaks, but it's almost a semi-regular occurrence. See? Makes no sense. Makes no sense. What does make sense is that we are finally hopping into game number... I'm assuming game number 3. But for us, game number 2 until we watch the Rex. Of Team Twat versus the Great Commonwealth Bake Off. So far, it's been looking pretty good in the last game for Team Boo. Twat players looking pretty comfy. Boo getting plenty of herdables pushed into him. Self. And are we now going to push in for Happy the Andy? Are we doing kind pushing, or are we pushing this all the way over to ourselves? Do you think Bo was screaming, take it? Well, here comes Pudding. It's Zayu. Thank you very much for the raid, Zayu. I hope you're doing well today. DM players on the way in. I believe casting some otter in Tarnished Deathmatch. Well, we are having some Happy the Andy trying to come put some pressure on Ted. And so is Pudding. Oh dear. There's going to be numbers over this side. Otter versus BM. That sounds like a banger of a set. Love me some BM. Love me some BM. Lumber camp on the way down. Pressure. Like, kind of rolling over. Panda coming to try and wall in. Stone of Pudding. We don't want Pudding to be able to just, like, tower, I guess. I'm glad that discussions are in place. Well, Pudding and Andy, like, this is how Chaos Pit's supposed to be. Attempts at laming, actual chaos. It's so messy. Like, if this goes wrong, like, this can completely Titanic Team Twat's chances. But they're getting a nice surround on the scout. Hopsy loses his scout and has lost a Vil. Red Pudding again being the ruddy nuisance that he is. But we did at least manage to wall in our ally. No, that's our enemy. Happy the Andy walled in Ted. Now we're gonna have to try and punch our way through. So that's quite funny. As Happy the Andy continues his little spree of trying to upset Hopsy. Scout goes down. Vils will go down as well, so I guess they've now just been sort of mentally thrown away as Pudding sort of makes their little loop back home. We didn't get walled off fully, and we are... Oh God, this is Chaos Pit. This is chaosing, and all the while, Boo is not. Boo is not experiencing chaos. Boo's having a lovely day. Well, Pudding is not. Pudding's doing more nuisancey things. So they try and get some wall offs. They still don't have the numbers. Like, it's a low HP scout trying to get the engagement, but Pudding's happy to take this. Any little bit of scout damage is nice. First Vil goes down, decides to take the engagement, dives in, almost kills the scout. Here's the thing: is Pudding's actually had very little TC idle time off the back of this, which is kind of surprising. Not that the eco is necessarily all that good. Happy the Andy, definitely been a nuisance. But we're not chopping out. Only Boo is trying to chop out. Not necessarily a mega focus on that. Pointing out that Panda was coming forward to try and continue that nuisance play. But I don't think Pudding's been laned all that much. Seems kind of okay. Feudal Age landing in for the Celts. And now we're going to try and wall off the front. Barracks on the way down. Barracks on the way down. Are we going to be going Celt Scouts? I don't think we've got enough on food for that. And it's not like we're on gold. So maybe, what, Celt Skirm? Not sure I love it. Not sure I love it. We'll see what the... As Panda comes when he's like, nope. Not going to let the Teutons stone this. Not going to be letting that happen at all. Keeping a ping out. Want to let them know where units are. Ted has the scouts out himself. And it's not, it's just spears. Okay, Celt spears. Nothing else to be added in. Just standard Celt spears. How close are the Georgians to being able to chop through? Georgians have chopped through quite nicely, actually. Fair play. We will be out for 2 of for both Boo and Nathaniel, and I think we've done a decent job actually of walling up at the side of this. I'd say mostly unmolested. 102 to 103 vils, so they're pretty similar. Young Panda walls off the last of the berry pickers there. It's probably worth giving up this position. Actually, that's a thing. Where's our wall off going to be? Are we going to try and wall off like here, or do we try and wall off to the edge this way? It's going to be tough when there's plenty of pressure on the way. As forward tower for the Incas. Let's put some pressure on, and to a certain extent, I guess we've tried to stop the Teutons being able to go for a tower defense. Vils trying to come forward, but they will be walled out by Kiwi, so a little inefficient. Only 2 Vils, and we could just come out with our own villagers and rush this down. Like, we'd have, to a certain extent, the advantage there. Nice quick wall off. Do we go for defensive towers? We could. Oh, no, we can't, because we're not even in feudal age yet. We will be soon, though. And what's the... we just... Well, we pick off one of the bills. She goes down. We've allowed the scouts to hop in defensively. Tower will go up. Tower finishes. We can get more towers in ours, though. We will be able to dive. The spear's out for the Teutons. Plenty of pressure coming in over on this right-hand side. And we break in as well. That should be a few, maybe. No, won't even be any dead vills. Good engagement against Nathaniel's scouts, though. It'll be a bit of a full surround, especially with Panda in the mix as well. Not too many Teuton spears in play. Over on the other side, we are waiting for the chop through. We are aware of it. We are just waiting ever so patiently. Tower up for Happy the Andy on the front of Hopsy, but not necessarily doing a huge amount. And mainly, it's just the focus on if we can do enough damage to Pudding. That'll be another Vil down. Spears not up in significant numbers, and even if they were, Happy the Andy having to come over with the Celt spears a little bit further. And they're in. And they're in. That's 2 Vils down. We don't manage to get the wall off, as we have to run. It's a little bit of a surround, so not all the scouts are getting to join in, but it will be costly. It will be very costly. And that'll be at least another few 2-3 Vils down. All of this is on Ted. Yikes. Oh, Ted, that's 8 dead Vils so far. It's been a massacre. Do we try and wall this off? Like, that's... And another one's gone. And another one's gone. And another one bites the dust. I think, like, mentally, you were getting a little bit of a nice dive in on the other side. You felt like your team was stabilizing and getting into a good position. Like, and all the while, as soon as that little pressure comes in, this is swung round. We've got Teuton towers coming up all over us. Ted's been forced off wood. We've only got Kiwi on the outside. He's having to outpost all over the damn spot. All over the damn shop. And we're starting to wall up. I think this is looking pretty dire. Yeah, Ted, more like dead. We do at least clear the last of the scouts, but the damage has been done as they loop round. In fact, they didn't even die, did they? At least we're walled off. No exposed. We'll stop the Vil walling. We don't manage to quick wall. Probably would have been better to have just kept pulling the Vil further over. Have we got any units that can come and join in? We're actually pretty far from getting the... Oh, the scouts just come back over. No! Oh, God! He is coming back for more. That's 19 dead villagers, at least 21. Ted is fully dead. He's a dead Ted. All the while trying to kill one vill. Trying to kill one vill loses everything. Oh, and Hopsy, it calls it. Ted calls it. It's a massacre. It's not allowed to stream war crimes. I mean, oh god, you've got to feel for Ted there. Just one smart. Genuinely, I think if Ted hadn't had been looking just before that came in, or managed to tap the wall down so we didn't get the full mass of scouts in there taking that fight. Like, we were doing okay over on this right-hand side until that happened, and then it was panic, and then I think we pulled the reinforcements over from Kiwi to try and save Ted, and, like, it's not like Hopsy was in a position to do much over on this side either. So, oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. Look how they massacred our boy. I want this one. Let's have a quick tick off of. It was a Chaos Pit loss. So that was Incas. What was it? Incas, Slavs, Byzantines, and Hindustanis, which I think are like a good. That's a good mix. And that was Georgians, Celts, Teutons, and Franks. So yeah, that's another Team Twat getting their bottom picks used on their opponent's home map, capitalizing off it. And that was a Georgian win. And the Slavs? Where the hell are the Slavs? I'm missing Slavs. Oh, that was Teuton win. Oh, it's because I'm looking at the wrong team. They had Slavs. Melon. I might be cute, but I'm clearly blind. It was Franks. That's the one. It was Franks. What a melt. Right, somewhere is the last map that we missed, which I think Hopsy will send. Which is nice, thank you, Hopsy. Drop that in save games, and we should be able to find out what happened on Zimbabwe. There we go. Zimbabwe found, and I like Zimbabwe. I am drinking a wine bottle of vintage cider. That's what I'm doing. Shame they kind of spoiled the results. Nah, I mean, I saw game 2 and 3. It looked real comfortable for Team Twat, and we don't know. They might be playing a game 4. But yeah, it's rough. Okay, so it's Spanish, Gujaras, Tatars, and Italians for poor Team Ted. The Great Commonwealth Bake Off. And it is a Commonwealth, but they are facing up against Turks, Malay, Mongols, and Huns. Turks. vibes. Nobody losing any vills at the start of this, which is nice. We get it to pull in our elephants without receiving like any damage to the villager. That's nice. Smooth from Kiwi. Gajara's facing up against the Mongols though. Interesting Mongol sort of flanky pocket. Is a vibe. Is a vibe. Getting some exploration done. I mean, Huns to this right-hand side seems pretty standard, and so is Tatars. Like a super popular pick for this map and in this position. And, you know, having a sort of castle gunpowder sieve for both of them. We've got Turks and Spanish. And I don't necessarily mind that. I think it's a little bit easier for the Spanish to get their castle up than the Turks. But, I mean, those Janissaries do have some high damage output. So it depends on if we go for a more defensive castle placement or a more aggressive one. And so far, smooth. Nobody really having any Dark Age troubles. I'm saying that. Ted. Potential to lose a Ville here. Big potential to lose a Ville here. Great potential to lose a Ville here. And he does. Oh dear. I mean, he gets the elephant in, but... that's not what you wanted for your smooth Spanish build. And I'm surprised, because I kind of feel like he could have blocked that off. His scout was there. Like, his scout was there. And all the while, over on this side, we're in a semi-similar position, but we get the house up. We kill the crocodile without losing too much HP on the villager. And Kiwi seems far smoother at getting the block-offs. Did Panda lose a Ville as well? When did Panda lose a Ville? Panda, where is this Ville loss? That's fine. Panda didn't need villagers anyway. Yeah. You gotta feel for them. Like when that's the start for you. you're like, oh, two of your players have lost a Ville to a boar. Kind of unnecessarily, and it's both of you. It's both of your kind of timing based pockety players. It's a little dicey. As we come forward with Nathaniel Scout, seeing if we can find any Vills coming forward to get that greedy collection. We might find one. As Panda's pushing in some hunt for Hopsy. People love pushing in some hunt for Hopsy. Everybody's so kind to Hopsy. Getting them pushes in. Nathaniel almost loses a Ville to the lion. Gets rid of it. Scout died. Ooh. Nathaniel, no. Did lose a bit of HP to the elephant there, as we were, I guess, focusing on trying to kill that scout. So very vulnerable Ville. But we're smooth. Our block-offs have been pretty good. They're trying to be so helpful for one another with the pushes. It's very cute. Collection not bad for the Gajaras. Obviously, we've got 7 water buffalo stocked in there. And Rum Sauce loses their scout as well. So that's some scouts dying to TCs, kind of unnecessarily. I'm amazed that scout is still alive. Stable will be denied for a little bit, actually. That's quite funny. And all the while we're walling to the TC. Not walling. Well, I guess we are walling to the TC sort of over on this left-hand side as well. What's the rum sauce plan? Scout cavalry prepped. Oh dear. Hopsy. It's just... Things do not feel like they are going mega smooth here for Great Commonwealth Bake Off. Like... We lost 3 vills? Where did we lose? What? Where? Are we just so low HP that we can... that there was a dive? Like, when did that happen? There's no looming. I know that. Oh god. It's on the wood line. Unnoticed. Completely unnoticed. So actually, Pudding being the distraction over here allowed 3 Vil kills on the wood line. Ah, there's always a reason for Pudding doing a thing. There's always a reason for Pudding doing a thing. And that's just... that's 5 Vil kills in Dark Age. And this, you know, exposed, no loom as you try and click up to Feudal Age smoothly. And that's so risky. And I think they're being punished. Do you think the mentality of this affects the rest of your set when you've had that crap of a Dark Age? Everybody except Kiwi has really, at some point, had a bit of a flummox on Great Commonwealth Bake Off. Trying to get some walling. We do wall to the TC. We wall to the TC, big and wide, on both sides, going for that more defensive option, not trying to go for the big long walls this time that they tried the last time. That I cast a twat set on Zimbabwe. Market Blacksmith for Boo. And double archery range Blacksmith for Andy. Interesting. Interesting. I guess if we go like scouts, archers, and try and do quite a lot of damage, that could be really, really nice. And with Boo being the only one going castle, the question is, do we go forward castle or defensive castle? I think if we're going aggressive with our teammates here, I think I want to see a defensive castle, just to make sure that there's some defense at home. But again, that's another Vil picked off by archers. 5 dead Vils for Hopsy, who has some scouts up, but the eco's not flowing free. Only 22 Vils to everybody else's 27 or 28. Castle Age on the way in for Ted as well, and for Kiwi. So, you know, again, Kiwi's had effectively been mostly unmolested, but doesn't really have any defense in play. Only has a barracks down, and starting to make some camel scouts. We're walled up on the wood line, mostly. And we've forced a tower out of Hopsy as well. So I think we're feeling pretty groovy. Blacksmith and Market down for Panda. As the Italians probably going to try and click up too. A little bit of pressure. Are we going to trap ourselves? Looking for any gap in there. Won't be trapped this time, no punishment. But we are at least pinging where the archers are. First armor upgrade and bloodlines on the way in, but the number of camel scouts is not particularly high. They will immediately turn into camels though, as soon as they hit Castle Age. So that will be an okay timing, but the archers are still a threat. Castle Age lands for Boo as well. And it is indeed a defensive castle for the Turks and a defensive castle for the Spanish. Nobody trying to overextend. Being able to have some camels on the field means that you do swing the scout fight in your favour. They clear the archers, but the scout mass of Nathaniel is able to run away a bit. We are relatively unmolested. Happy the Andy is at least having his archers pinged. They're like, look, Happy the Andy is near you, so be aware. Spears forward, trying to join in. Rum Sauce scouts effectively over the opposite side of the map, and we do finish our wall offs. And what a bunch of funky wall offs they are. Castle on the way up for the Italians as well. Market on the way in, and we're just going Janissaries, and there is a petard to blow a hole. I'm going to expect conks out though, so you don't necessarily want to be just trying to blow a hole at the front of the Spanish base. I'm not necessarily convinced it will go well. Fight a smidge in favour of Team Twat, but just a smidge. Hopsy definitely been on the receiving end of quite a bit of focus here. Castle Age in for both Ted, Kiwi and Panda. And we managed to do a smidge of damage. Like, actually, Nathaniel's lost 3 villagers himself. Second TC on the way up for Boo. Handy trying to buy his way up. They will blow a hole through the gate, and in they pop. Castle is there. And like, what's the sitch? Do we just completely change tacts? Conks get in with camels. And the TC gets denied. They beeline for it. They really wanted to stop Boo expanding.
Raiding party!
Hey Dizzy, thank you for raiding. Hope you've had a lovely cast. This is what is shaping up to potentially be the final game of the quarter-finals of GB Draft. Or at least this bit of GB Draft. It's a 4v4 tournament, mainly focusing on the UK community. Obviously, we've got all of our favourite UK players here in Kiwi and Young Panda. Both of them very famously from the UK. What the hell is this crazy map? This is Zimbabwe. It's a lot of fun, actually. I really like the way this map plays out. You have your two kind of, you'd think of them as sort of pocket players, but it ends up being an area that you kind of focus quite a lot of your aggression normally from the middle. Players that are normally trying to pull off some kind of fast castle and get your unique unit out. But this time, the pressure has been on Hopsy the whole damn time. We were trying to get some stone to play defensive, but Happy the Andy dives in, and this has been a pretty titanic game number 1, or at least in this case, game number 3. We got a bit of denial in on the TC for Boo, but we had enough Janissaries to play defense as well, and all the while putting Hopsy in such a shit spot. Pressure and raids all over the back area. The wall to the back is nice. I think they did a good job. It's just unfortunate that we managed to get in. But we are much better walled off now. But yeah, hard to really get enough damage, especially because Hopsy's lost 21 villagers and nobody else. I mean, I guess Red has lost 15. Like, that's not great. Castle Age on the way in. And so we're actually only 4 vills different, but we are on the way to Castle, and I'm not sure Hopsy is. Still trying to get some value with the conks. Not a surprise, Ted being a solid player, saying that they want to put some pressure on at the front. As Trebs are out. Fast imp from the Italians. Definitely useful, but at the same time, it's like we still have crossbows in the back of our base. They are being pinged, but Ted didn't react. Loses a few more vills. And Pudding's able to join in with the dive. At least we react now. This is a sort of timing window. I need to get rid of the castle of Boo. Don't want those Janissary numbers to get up too high. Shrivamsha Riders in play for Kiwi. Scout numbers are still decent. It's not a fight that we can necessarily win with crossbow in play. Andy tries to dive in. We'll at least clear some of the conks, but just that combo of conk and Genoese crossbows pushes Andy back. Does it buy us time? Trying to get repairs in. What's the aim here for Boot? That's the aim. You always want to block the logo.
Giraffe.
That way, if I lean down to pick up a new drink, I clear the logo. Thank you for following, Power Matt. Very close. Only, that means what? Two more followers until 700. Wow, pure excitement. And there we go. We clear up Kiwi's camel mass. At the same time, we take a good dive in on the archers of Happy the Andy. Or at least we would have done if we'd stayed focused on the archers. Instead, we try and take the fight against the scouts. We clear those. Lost a lot of the Shramshas while doing it. We should still get the surround, though. Like, that should be that cleared. And the castle does go down. So, again, this isn't... Like, I thought it was kind of over, but it was only Hopsy that was over. The imp timing of Young Panda and the Trebs have done great work against Boo. And Nathaniel isn't in a brilliant spot himself. Only 33 villagers, so Nathaniel actually has less vills than Hopsy. So, yeah. Okay. Now, if we manage to clear the Trebs, this could be really, really useful. Buying time. We really want to buy time for Boo. Bear in mind that every Janissary that gets killed here is a Janissary that Boo can't replace. Genuinely, Panda is diving the Janissaries with Trebs. That's so funny. They are not that great at killing Trebs, are they? 3 Trebs still alive, and we lost more Janissaries to Trebs than Trebs to Janissaries, which is quite funny. Conks, though, their mass ain't that great, but we still have a castle. The score has swapped round again? Why? What is the score switch? Not sure I see it. Maybe it's just bread pudding baiting us into thinking we're in a better spot. The entire military gets cleared up, though, as everybody dives in together and we lose the Trebs, and... Oi! Okay, 232 to 226 Vils, Team Twat, behind in eco, but our military is now much, much better. Shravamsha Riders being the thing in play, and I don't know. Consider me whelmed by Shravamsha Riders here, certainly in these numbers. And we managed to keep enough Jannies alive. I think Boo's probably going to just stop focusing on being too aggressive himself, going to rely on the team to do damage. And I'm expecting Boo to just boom up, actually. I think the Turks are probably in a little better spot when we go to Imp. And so just using the small amount of Janissaries that we've got here to join in and be a bit of a focus all the while to buy us some time. Hopsy finally going to arrive in Castle Age, but like... Castle Age, not really been joining in. Eco is trash. Only 40 villagers. It's been a bit of a 4v3. Not necessarily joining in. Rough fight. Rough fight. Camel numbers should be decent though, and there's not many Janissaries left at the front. Just quite a lot of knights. Quite a lot of knights. Finally getting a second TC down for the Mongols. Again, their eco wasn't particularly great themselves. Everybody's... Like, Team Twat were on a knife's edge there. Like, genuinely, we're on a proper knife's edge. Hopsy loses another villager as we're trying to stonewall up. Just been pain after pain for Hopsy. As now with 3 players coming round to put some pressure on Kiwi this time. Boo going fletching as we are doing a Cav Archer transition. Okay. I think Cav Archer's pretty good here, especially because we don't have Don't have a castle anymore, and it doesn't look like we're that focused on getting more. 2 knights are enough to destroy Hopsy at this point, yeah. Especially when you add in a few more... oh god. A few more crossbows to the mix as well. And all the while, Hopsy doesn't realise that his wood line is being raided again. Who needs 2 knights when 1 knight can do the damage? And all the while, we're also being dived... Like, this might be a mental loss. Because Hopsy's kind of screwed. The raids are in the base. We hit Castle Age, but we're not really able to do a fat lot with it other than, I don't know, try and attempt to get a second TC up, but you know, it's on wood. It's not the most successful thing. At the same time, like Ted has a pretty solid mass up of units, but with Hopsy dead and falling so far behind, and I mean falling so far behind with the Tatars, it's gonna be 4v3. And it's going to be so hard to contend with this 4v3. And we're going to need to kill off one of the players. And it probably needed to be the Mongols. But with the Mongols getting it to that position where they're starting to be competitive again. Cav archers in the mix for the Tatars. And we're going to get some siege. I'm expecting Scorp, actually. Ballistics on the way in. So far, nothing. Maybe Rams? Could be Rams. Unless we're planning an imp for Boo. How close is Boo to imp? Oh, he's in it. It's not. I was a melon. Of course they're going bombard cannons. I thought Boo was still in Castle Age. Noobcaster. We still haven't finished the stone walls at the front. Oh my fucking god. If a knight comes in again. If this knight goes in again. It's spotted. Well, got some bombard cannons out. Denying a castle of Panda. 98% left. Oi. I don't think they necessarily played mega awful, but like, I just feel like everything that could have gone wrong for them kind of went wrong for them. Pretty much from the early game. They've lost so much eco. Hopsy mainly knocked out of the game. Admittedly, Nathaniel was also almost knocked out of the game as well. But I don't... Yeah. I don't think it quite had the same effect. Castle coming up for Boo in the middle. We're gaining some position, and with the bombards, it's looking nice. And again, like, Pudding, 1180, has been consistently, like, throwing above his weight class, I think, in pretty much every game that we've ever watched him play. Obviously, there's some like eco and execution things that are a little iffy, but Pudding doesn't feel like an 1180. He doesn't feel like an 1180 at all. Pudding is the lowest rated player, I think, in GB Draft, and I just don't feel that is accurate. I don't feel that is accurate at all. I think that Pudding plays their game style. Yeah, 1180. I'm pretty darn sure. I'm pretty darn sure Pudding is not. Pudding be smurfing. Pudding just plays their game style really, really well. Seems to thrive in messy games. Team game rating is equivalent to 1700, and in a team game tournament that is far more important. Get a little bit of clear up. Ted coming in with the Cavalier. So it is a better army comp, but there's nothing I mean, the Arbs, it's only regular Genoese crossbow, not elite, so they're, you know, they are trading well here. Keeping the mass up, as Imp will come in for the Mongols, who just aren't joining in. Like, Mongols aren't involved here, so the army fight should go in favour of Team Ted. Pudding is good enough to be in both in-game and in chat. Well, that's Pudding for you. It's clearly playing with one hand. Market's prepped. Have we been given some timing? Have we been given some breathing room? Again, eco is still pretty shite for both Panda and Hopsy, which might be a bit of a limiting factor here. I thought that like that military fight was going to be in favour, but actually the Cav Archer mass stayed huge, and with heavy Cav Archer in, we pushed that back just with the support of some siege and a small number of knights. So even though it's 3 players in Imp versus 2, the 2 players that are in Imp are just able to get so much more done here. And it's fascinating because it's like Arb and heavy Cav Archer and just a few bombards, and just having the knights in play is doing... it's doing everything. At least this game 1 has had a little bit of a swing round back and forth, which has been nice. We got close to being able to push through Boo. Got some good damage onto Nathaniel, who wasn't in the best spot themselves, but actually when it comes down to it, the people who have received the most pressure has been mostly throughout the entire game. The Great Commonwealth Bake-Off. Maybe the Great Commonwealth Bake-Off were overcooked in this set. Was the pudding with rum sauce just a little bit too strong today? Elite Genoese crossbow on the way in for the Italians. And still up to a decent number, but it's so hard to deal with this army as they're pushing through Ted's base. Losing castles, and then what are the Spanish going to be able to add in here to, like, balance this? We've already got some Mongol heavy cav in play. Got a pretty massive army of Hun knights as well, which aren't a million miles off being cavalier as long as they stay alive. And that Arb mass is just painful to deal with, especially with the Turk bombards. Do we have siege engineers in? Oh, we don't even get siege engineers. Obviously, we're Turks. Melt. Four colours in Ted's base. It is a full rainbow in Ted's base. Except, obviously, Hopsy, who just isn't really in a position to throw anything in. And it's a bit of a clear up. We've still got solid eco for the Spanish, solid eco for the Gujaras, but can we solo carry? Like, can those 2 players carry when I would say the eco balance of Team Twat is just so much better now? We started to get trade rolling, we're walled off nicely, we're getting some expansion onto this northern side. I think we're going to be able to push this out. We've completely locked off the middle. Both spots lost. Not full production here from the Gujaras either. There's Ted trying to get Cavalier, maybe trying to lead it themselves into Spanish Paladin if we can get there. Again, numbers just not there. 221 military to 92. In Spanish trade, we believe. Well, in Spanish trade, we stick our massive army of Cav Archers. So trade as much as you like when we're chilling by your markets. When we're chilling in Hopsy's base with our Cavalier. When the Halbs are raiding. There is no hope. There is no way. This best of 5 looks like it's going only the 3 games. This quarterfinal looks like a comfy stroll, like almost a stroll in the park for Team Twat. We'll try and get the surround in, and it might happen. But the damage has been done. Down to 53 villagers and 65 villagers. Eco in shambles. This northern side completely lost. No reaction at all to the raids coming in from Pudding. And they know it. The GG rolls in. That is a smooth 3-0 for the Twats. And that is our casts finished for the day. The quarterfinals are decided here, but there is still one more set, I believe, going on right now from GB Draft, which is probably where we will send. I won't be casting it because I think it should already be being cast. Should. Which is the last of our group stage, which is Team Stake versus Team Regeddon. And I think they have just finished game 1. Fez, I believe, is casting. So that is where we will go. It's been a pleasure having you all here. We've got, you know, ever so close to the 700 followers, which isn't that exciting? It's been nice hanging out with you all. I will be casting again next week. For now, though, off we pop. This pub is closed for the night. There's work in the morning. We'll love you and leave you. Have fun. Goodbye. Pub's closed.